The Tale of Despereaux, written by Jamie McIlrath, based on the book by Kate DiCamillo. Chapter 1, The Rat. Come a little closer. Get comfortable. You know what I mean. Settle in. Take off your coat. Have a seat. You are about to hear a story. It begins like this. Once upon a time, there was a brave little mouse who loved honor and justice and always told the truth. It was the sunniest of days. Light streamed through the white, fluffy clouds and danced on the sea below, bouncing off the water in a million tiny sparkles. It was a quiet sort of day, the kind of day when all that could be heard was the lulling rush of waves and the cries of seagulls swooping down and skimming the water's surface. Then an enormous ship came crashing through the waves. Its tall masts reached for the sun, and its large white sails snapped in the breeze. The wooden deck creaked as the bow sliced through the water. On board, the ship was full of activity. Everywhere were the common sights of sailing life: winches, cannons, peg legs, and tattoos. Thick arms pulled hard on even thicker ropes. Sailors grunted and shouted. But if you looked very closely, you'd see something most unexpected. Amid the action, a small rodent lay fast asleep. Strangely, it was not lurking in some dark nook. Instead, it was basking in the bright sunlight, curled up on deck in plain sight. As the massive ship settled in after tacking, the creature awoke. It got up, stretched, and yawned. It raised its pointed snout toward the sun, letting the light wash over it, and took a deep breath of salty air. Then it looked around as if searching for someone. The crew was just beginning to relax. Men grabbed a seat on barrels or huge coils of rope. Some lit their pipes. One played the penny whistle, and its tune wafted out over the deck while the waves rocked the boat rhythmically. The creature ran across the deck toward the sailors. It boldly approached a man who sat whittling a small figure. Even more shocking, the brazen little rodent was soon settled comfortably upon the man's shoulder. "Tell me that thing again," it said into the sailor's ear. "Please?" The sailor, whose name was Pietro, smiled warmly at the all-too-familiar request. "Oh, come on, Roscurio." "Ah, you must be thinking Roscurio must be the brave little mouse." "No, that's not him. That's a rat." And anyone who knows anything knows there's a big difference between a mouse and a rat. First of all, rats hate light. They spend their lives in darkness. They're also terrified of people, which is why they slink and cower all the time. And as far as telling the truth is concerned, well, it's impossible, because, as everyone knows, a rat can't talk. And yet... "Just once, I promise," Roscurio said, leaning forward. "Tell me one more time, and I won't ask you ever again, I swear." Pietro sighed. "Fine. We are headed to Dor, one of the most magical places in the whole world." "No, that is not what you said before," said Roscurio, shaking his head. "You know, everything has something special." "That is what I said." "No, it's not," Roscurio insisted. "Remember what you said? It was so great." Roscurio stood up straight as if making a pronouncement. "Every place we go has something special about it, and in Dor it's the soup." "See, you know it," said Pietro. "Yeah, but not like you do. Come on, not just any soup." Roscurio continued dramatically. "Amazing soup, incredible soup. In fact, After you taste one spoonful, you will never want to have any other soup again for the rest of your life." "So what do you need me for?" Pietro asked, amused. Rosculio sighed in frustration. He was just about to protest Pietro's infuriating stubbornness when a joyful voice called out, "Land ho!" The boat creaked and turned. The sailors jumped to attention and hurried about the deck. At once, Rosculio jumped off Pietro's shoulder and raced up the nearest rope. He leaped from spar to spar, scurried across the sails, and nimbly crossed one of the lines, working his way up the mast, all the way to the crow's nest. In an instant, Rosculio had reached the top, where one of the ship's flags flew. He put a small paw to his forehead and scanned the horizon. His eyes lit up. "I can see it!" Rosculio called down. Pietro, the only one who could hear Rosculio's voice, glanced up at his tiny friend. The seafaring rat had seen many places in his life, but the place Rosculio saw at this moment thrilled him like no other. His heart leaped at the sight of it, and whose wouldn't? The kingdom of Dor was like a little jewel glistening against the sea. The castle and everything around it seemed to radiate light. Shimmering towers rose majestically into the sky. Their golden spires glowed warmly like a king's crown. At the base of white cliffs, a small harbor twinkled in the sunlight, and ships bobbed happily at anchor. Dor looked as if it had been sprinkled liberally with a giant shaker of stardust. To a rat who loved light, Dor was a magical place indeed. But there was something else, something amazing. Rosculio sniffed and sniffed again. Something incredible. "Ooh, I can smell it! I can smell it!" Rosculio cried, inhaling more deeply. Something that would change the rat's life forever.